What is up, everybody? Racing Dudes Live coming at you another Saturday here. We're going to be covering the Haskell, of course, is the main event today, and the CCA Oaks at Saratoga. And we got, stakes racing across the board left here at Monmouth Park. We're getting ready to run the United Nations, and then we've got, of course, the Haskell and then a couple more stakes. And then, of course, the CCA at Saratoga. So we're going to be here for about 2 hours talking racing. What's up, fellas?
How you doing? Good day racing so far.
I apologize. I sound like I'm in a dungeon. I'm live from an empty house, basically. We're in between moves, so I've got a computer and maybe like one TV back there left. So,
well, we appreciate you doing what you can to get on this feed. I know it pretty much looks like you're homeless in the background, right. Which you kind of are in a day. It kind of looks like you're squatting at the house, to be honest. And, so the real owners of this house could come in at any second. So we'll try to get this going. Before we go any further, though, because we are 2 minutes or just getting on the track at Monmouth Park for the Grade 1 United Nations, Arklow, the horse that coming in off the 6-day rest. Your 6-5 morning line favorite. Halterman, you picked against Arklow. I went Arklow on the podcast. Magic, what did you end up landing in this race?
Boy, especially if that 10-1 price holds, Aquaphobia. I agreed with Aaron. Aquaphobia was good. That's off a 92 morning line. Wow, I'll let Aaron talk about him. I also really like Parrot, Carrot, whatever we're going to call him. If he can get out there on a loose lead, Jared, you and I are alike that we like those kind of horses where you just go and see how far you can take him. And he's not like a pure speed horse like some of those other ones, but the way this pace sets up, I mean, if he gets brave, and we saw Jorge Vargas Jr. handle a horse really well in the front end last race in the Monmouth Cup with Global Campaign. So, he did it on the dirt. Maybe he can do it on turf, and I'll love 8-1.
Yeah, I mean, 8-1 would be a crazy price. I'm shocked right now. And like I said, running in easier company, but facing or easier company as far as graded consideration goes, but probably facing better horses than what he's seeing here. So. It's a really big class drop in my mind, even though it's a Grade 1. I just didn't like all the other horses in this race. Is what a lot of it came down to. I mean, Arklow I think is the class of the field, but my goodness, guys, 6 days rest. That's just that's pretty questionable. He did no running last time out, so maybe he's got a lot of energy left, but. To me, I thought that off 6 days rest and then being a short price, I didn't want any part of it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said on the pod, the fact that he's entered him back here, you got to assume. I mean, Brad Cox isn't going to just run him for for shits and giggles here. So he's going to. I mean, he got to be ready to run. But you also have the factor of what if last time was not like a fluky thing? It was just maybe something's off or. The horse has decided not to run right now anymore or whatever, So especially sucking down 6-5, I agree. Like, I think you got to play him defensively in your multis and stuff because, of course, you don't want to get beat by him. But horses like Standard Deviation, Parrot, like you mentioned, Magic, Aquaphobia, those prices, like this is a race I think I could see a lot winning in this. Because if Arklow doesn't win, take your pick.
What about Current right now at 10-1? I think that's a really interesting price.
Yep. I love Current, so I mean, I think that's a horse that is always he does a lot of he's capable of winning races kind of out of nowhere.
Yep, and facing tougher this year. Todd Pletcher brings him in, and he's got Gallardo aboard. And Jared, we kind of talked about earlier in the day off air that Gallardo, Paco Lopez, Joe Bravo. That's the three locals that you want, and other than Mike Smith, who somehow gets to come in for this. Everywhere else, it's local jockeys. So I'll take Gallardo, Pletcher, for the horse that has back class at 11-1 any day. I think Current's really interesting, and this is a horse that loves to go long too. So a mile and 3/8, man, I think it's right up his alley. I can't believe he's 11-1. I guess really what it comes down to, all these horses are bigger prices than we thought because Arklow is even money. I mean, I just can't believe he's even money. He certainly can win, but it's really made this a very good betting race. if you like other horses, and we went through a few. Another one, Mugs-O-Matic is 5-1. I thought that was another interesting horse for Mike Maker. Gets Paco Lopez up. So yeah, it's more wide open than what these odds are. I mean, even money in this field's a little nutty to me.
You bring up a great point about Gallardo. If you remember 2 years ago, he won this race with Fantastic, that Chad Brown trainee, and he was like, they were overlooked pretty bad because you had a lot of the big jockeys that came in to ride, and Gallardo just whipped them all on the front end in there. So I remember that because the win circle photo is he's looking at the camera grinning, like he knew he got away with murder in that race. And so I love Gallardo at Monmouth Park because of that reason.
Yeah. He's a good rider everywhere he goes. He's at Tampa Bay during the winter and does a really nice job down there, and then he comes up here to Monmouth. I mean, this is a guy that I think, a lot of times you get kind of not that Monmouth is a small track, but it's definitely a mid-range track. A lot of those guys in that room, they don't need to be riding anywhere but where they are, but with Gallardo, he could ride about anywhere, and I would be confident in him. So, yeah, I mean, now 12-1 guys on current. I mean, that's unreal. If you like Aquaphobia, he's now 12-1. Yeah, your boy Parrot is 9-1, like you said, on a leap on the lead opportunity. So, is this an indication that Mike Smith is just going to take all the money in these races? Like, is Authentic going to be 1-5 in this next race?
I mean, honestly, it wouldn't surprise. I don't know. I mean,
all the My Racehorse owner money, man, that's going to push him. If My Racehorse wasn't in it, I would say no. But because you've got a million new owners of Authentic, yeah, 1-5.
I think when it comes down to it, I think you're going to get a lot of money on Authentic just because who he is, Baffert to Haskell. They've been showing replays all day of Baffert's Haskell winners. Mm-hmm. He dominates this race, and so you bring in any horse, I think. He's going to, it's like besides Dr. Post, it's a shitty field. So I think you're going to see like 4-5 or something, maybe 3-5 on Authentic, and Dr. Post probably 6, 7, 8, 5, somewhere in there. I mean, those two should be well ahead of everyone else in the betting.
I mean, yeah, we're going to get to that one pretty quick. And there's just no challengers out there past those two. But okay, they're loading the gate for me, guys. I don't know about you.
I'm waiting on Carrot to get in there.
Yeah. Carrot.
I'm so glad you talked about that on the podcast. I'd lost all my anger by the next day, so I didn't talk about it. But
yeah, you chose to ignore it there. So that's
I moved on and talked about kids' cartoons instead.
Yeah, that was a good segment. I like that. Yeah.
All right, Carrot's in.
All right, here we go.
Where are you at, Jared? Are you still in?
They are just went off.
Yep. Okay.
Just went off.
All right.
All right. Let's see. Well, they broke pretty evenly. It looks like Parrot's going out to the lead. So that's kind of what we thought there. No, is that Parrot? Yeah, that is. Okay.
So we used the 1, 3, 5, 6 in the multis.
Right. So the 7 is kind of going to be the one that presses here, but Parrot's out on the lead. 24-5 opening quarter.
He'll slow it down now.
Yeah, they definitely will. So I mean, there's just no surprise of what's going on right now. He's just going to gallop out on the lead. It's just going to be whether he's good enough. At 9-1. I guess he went off at 10-1 now. I mean, that's a good enough price to take a shot. Arklow, by the way, dead last.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of how he was last time, but he just never ever ran. So will he have that closing kick that we're used to seeing?
So the 8 ended up. Corelli is now 6-1. I thought he took a lot of late money. It seems like. Let's see where Current is at.
Oof.
Aquaphobia is third. He's in a pretty good spot.
He got a little bit of a breather there.
Yeah, he did.
25.5.
Yep.
Wow. I mean, he's getting everything his own way. If he's not good enough, if he loses, he's just not good enough. But
right. I mean, this is one of the more uneventful races I've ever watched so far. But the 4 just had to take up, so there was.
Yeah. Arklow's moving now.
Yeah, Arklow.
Yeah.
Aquaphobia is on the rail.
Bravo's moving on. Yeah. Here we go.
Aquaphobia. Aquaphobia looks good off this turn.
Off the turn here.
Arclo's moving, but he's gonna have to run his ass off.
Come on, Aquaphobia.
Good camera angle on us. Come on,
Look at
Jesus, what is this camera?
Yeah, what
Come
do
on,
they zoom
Aqua
in?
got it. Yes,
Come
yes,
on,
yes,
Aquaphobia.
yes, yes, yes.
Get your head. There you go.
All right, boys.
Congrats, Aaron. That was your top pick in the guide. Congrats. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, 10-1 on top winner to start the show. That's great. That is great. Listen,
We might as well just end this show right now, fellas. It's been real, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Aquaphobia 10-1. I don't know what more you want. We'll see you next week.
yeah.
Man, good call, Halterman.
Well, I mean, he set thanks, but really, it was a super easy race for him, right? He set a perfect pocket trip.
The
Take
trip
the
is
compliment.
perfect.
We talked about Gallardo and how good of a rider this guy is. He got him in position kind of up the backside to sit that pocket trip. He saved all the ground. He won the race. I mean, and why Arklow was sitting that far back, a fractions there, that's slow. Guys, this is not a deep closing horse. He should be a mid-pack type. I don't know. I was just a really surprising run there from Arklow. But yeah, we'll take Aquaphobia all day at 10-1, guys. That was exciting.
Well, and it's in the
I don't understand.
For
Yeah, go ahead, Magic.
For certain guides, you've gotten shit on for always just picking chalk. So the fact that you had your top choice at 10-1, I am so happy for you for that reason right there.
Well, I mean, we've hit 7 out of 11 on top winners today on that guide. So, and that's not listed winners. That's horses that are on top. So I feel pretty good about it. And thanks, Magic. Yeah, it's good to get that home. It's really good to get a 10-1 home. You know, in my opinion, I just never considered playing Arklow on top. And when that happened, it just kind of take your pick. And it turned out you got value no matter where you went. Thankfully, you know, I picked the right one that time. So, yeah, it was good.
Yeah, you know, Arklow, I don't know if he's just lost a lot of his early speed. He kind of did the same thing he did last race where he maybe ran a little bit more today, but where he just does. I mean, and you can't ask him to run, especially off of, you know, they weren't blazing up front to just close in like that. I mean, he closed, but what are you supposed to do? I mean, so he finishes 6-5, went up 6-5. I mean, you had to use him defensively, but at this point, if he can't win, I mean, he wasn't even close to winning today, and this is nothing compared to, you know, some of those races he runs in. So I don't know what you do with Arklow moving forward, really. I mean, I don't know. Might be time for a break.
Magic, is it time to retire him, you think? You usually have a good gauge on that, so that's why.
I'm willing to give him a slight pass because he came back so quickly, and I wonder if someone who is smarter about horses than I am, if that quick of a turnaround kind of hurt his ability to sit closer than he usually does, because he shouldn't be that far back against it's a grade 1, but this is a weak grade 1 field. You can't do that with that horse. And Mike Smith's not an idiot, so I don't know what happened there. I'd give him a break now, let him try and come back, and if he still doesn't have it, then it's time to retire. But I'm willing to give him one more shot.
What's up, Ricky?
Hey, I had to make it on. That was opening weekend at Saratoga. I had no choice.
Well, you said you were going to be on, and then I looked down here in the bottom here, and there you were. So welcome. What do you think of that performance from Aquaphobia?
Yeah, I had Aquaphobia in a few. I singled Perret in a few things just on my own too, because I thought the lone speed would be there, and I thought Perret was just going to get away from the group. Arklow nowhere to be found. I don't think that was all that is a surprise. I think that was more of just the Brad Cox. He's done it before, and he's kind of got some good numbers when he rolls them back so quick. So I think that was more of just the trainer angle, just because Arklow really just doesn't look right at the moment.
Oh no,
so,
I totally agree. Like when I on the pod mentioned that I was playing Arklow, it had nothing to do with me loving the horse. It's strictly, it's like, well, Brad Cox is bringing this horse back in 6 days. That makes no sense. So like you say, you've got to trust people that know obviously more than you do when it comes to that particular horse. And so, like you say, I think something just isn't quite right with the horse.
Yeah, it really set up the way I kind of thought. I thought Perret did exactly what I thought, and that's a winning effort as far as I'm concerned from that horse. So Still alive in a few things. I had, like I said, I had Aquaphobia. We're alive to the Jersey Shore pick 6 still. So I don't know what type of payout that's going to be. There are a few logical choices. So I don't know what that situation is going to look like, especially with Dr. Post and Authentic coming up. But we're still alive to a few, but that was a nice performance overall by Aquaphobia.
So we are up next, right, for the Haskell. That's coming up next. We are. Let's just do payouts first. Aquaphobia, Perret, and Corelli. Let's see. That try paid $415. The exacta was $99 for $1. Let's see. That's a good horse to have, Halterin, in any of your multis there for sure, right?
Yeah, I'm with Ricky. I'm super pumped because we're alive to a lot of stuff, and I'm also with Ricky with the fact that we both hit the pick 4 and pick 5 with our products in the earlier part of the card, which really made the day right there. And then so we're live. We got a lot going on. I'm with you, Ricky. It's let's. I mean, I don't know what you went with the Haskell. I just bought it and went 1-2. So I say buy it. I think that's the only 2 you need. I didn't take a stand. So what did you do on the Haskell, Ricky?
Yeah, I went 1-2 also. I think at that point, if you're going to go anything past that, you might as well just take the whole race. So you kind of have to go 1-2 or you're going all. I don't know where you would kind of split hairs between the rest of the group because like you guys were talking on the pod, I think it's going to be an even money, maybe 7-5, 8-5 situation. And to be honest, I'm not sure who's going to be what. Like I could see either or being even money, 6-5. But I think you're pretty set there. I think the only way you might get some value is a long shot in the tries if you want to beat the third choice or something like that. But I think you can just take 1 and 2 and move on as well. I'm with you.
Yeah. Do we have a guest live, Jared? Do we have a guest from the Haskell?
We do. So let's bring him on. I was waiting kind of for the right.
It's been fun watching him down there.
I know, right? It's almost like it's a little masked character down below. Like I don't know what he's doing, but Vinny, who writes for us, been doing a lot of these analysis and pedigrees on some of these 3-year-olds. Of course, over there at Real Dynasty Picks on Twitter, Vinny Blonde is at the Haskell, one of the 102 people or whatever that are there. Vinny, let's bring him on. We'll see if it pops up because he is live. So I'm sure that Vinny, are you there? Yeah,
there's no one there to steal the internet.
I know,
feed
right?
away
You
from
would
him.
think
So why
that-
is this an issue?
Normally you would understand, but who'd be there to hurt him, right?
When I was there 2 weeks ago, it looked like there were more people there that day than there were today.
Of course, when I bring him on, it freezes. So we'll see. We'll bring him back on if I can tell he's got it figured out. But so what? Let's see. I'm looking at the odds. 2-5 on Authentic. 9-5 on Dr. Post. There you go. So there's the early money on Authentic getting hammered. Really, other than that, you got NY Traffic at 9-1, and that's it. So there's no surprise there, really. I think that's going to stay pretty steady. It'll probably drift up a little bit, but definitely under even money and somewhere around 8-5 or so on Dr. Post.
Yeah, I think you're right. 2-1 on Dr. Post is kind of surprising. I really thought, they would be a little closer to this, but 2-5 versus 2-1 it's pretty wild right now on the board. I'm really surprised. New York Traffic 9-1, not surprised by that. I mean, nothing else is really popping out at you. Listen, we kind of talked about on Bleakers Off, Jared. This is just a really straightforward race. Do you think do you think Authentic can go wire to wire, or do you think Dr. Post will catch him?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, there's really no need to get creative, really, other than just, like you say, buy those horses. And I think Ricky said it right. It's like, if you really can't, if you're gonna play past that, you almost have to play the whole race, because if for whatever reason you're thinking one of these horses are going to get beat, good luck picking the right one. So you might as well buy. But to me, hell, I mean, we got 10-1 the last leg, so you go thin here and hope you can get move forward. This is like, you talk about this a lot on Blinkers Off, where it's like, this is the kind of race where you're like, these are the 2 best horses. These are the 2 best horses running on the day. So you might as well just play these 2 and move on. And if for whatever reason they lose and don't run well, you're just like, well, shit, I never would have had that anyways.
Yeah, you're right in terms of I would almost throw out NY Traffic, to be honest. If I'm going to play tries and supers, you're not going to get any value there. And while we would all probably agree that NY Traffic is the third best choice, or definitely in a tier under the top two, and then the rest, I don't know what type of value. You might be looking at like a $5 trifecta. Like, oh, seriously, like you might be to the point where it's not even worth it. The stress levels are not going to be worth your payout. So you might as well, like, if I had to pick, I would go with like Jesus' team, I think his name is, like something like just go in a few different angles. Lebda maybe. I would throw NY Traffic out. Or like I think Halty, you might have said it. If you're all over Authentic or all over Dr. Post, take that out, take the next option out, and then find something underneath. Maybe one just doesn't show up. Not that that's likely, but playing those two, like we might be looking at a $3 exacta for like right. I don't know if $3-4, 4 might be pushing it, 5 might be pushing it. So,
I mean, yeah. So it's basically, do you want to just bet the one doesn't show up, or do you want to just buy the race? I mean, there's just nothing you can do here. Now, the good news is, if you do like Dr. Post and Magic, I'm going to kick it to you because I know you do. He is playable here. Authentic is not. Even if you really like Authentic, 1 to 2 is not playable on that horse. Dr. Post at 9 to 5. I want to hear from you because you like him the best. Is it playable for him at 9 to 5?
9 to 5, maybe. I'm actually seeing 8 to 5. So I wish if I can get 9 to 5 on your side, man, that'd be great. It's tough. If you think like you said, I thought you explained it perfectly. I'm like often earlier that this is a 2-horse race. There's no value on Authentic unless you think he's a world beater, and we've already seen that he's not a world beater. So, I mean, I don't know. I think this is, you either pass, like I'm passing on this race because I don't see enough value even on Dr. Post at 8 to 5. That you either try and play some exotics and get lucky underneath, or you just take a pass on this race. Vinny, even though he's not here, Vinny did a really great job looking at Dr. Post's pedigree earlier this week, and he found that there really isn't a whole lot of distance pedigree that makes you think beyond a mile and a 16th. I mean, yes, he was second in the Belmont Stakes, a mile and an eighth, but that's a field that people were poo-pooing other than the winner. So, does he have enough to win at a mile and an eighth? Does Authentic have enough to win at a mile and an eighth? There's too many question marks on either one of those for me to think either one of them has value,
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's just a very strange race. I don't come across this one very often because I was talking to Ricky earlier, or yesterday maybe. I like to bet wins. Like, that's my number one go-to wager. I don't come across a stakes race like this often where it's just, I'm so unmotivated to bet either of these horses to win, Usually in a stakes, I'm excited. Like the last stakes, for a huge example, anytime my top pick is 10 to 1 and I believe that the horse should be 5 to 1, you go crazy. Like your heart gets pumping when you see that. This race to me is totally, I'm viewing the race and that's it. I just can't get excited. Where Ricky last weekend when we had Rushing Fall at this similar prices, you and I were ready to go and ready to bet. But when you've got Authentic, right? I mean, 3 to 5, you can't play this horse to win.
Well, I was just gonna say we're approaching the point where Authentic's probably gonna, like Jared said, probably, or whoever, gonna float up a tad. I don't think we're gonna see 1 to 2 when it's final. But Rushing Fall was 4 to 5. Authentic is gonna be probably 4 to 5 even money. Who would you rather take in their respective races, right? So it really, obviously, it's a shorter field, and we've talked before that sometimes these short fields we see little wackier things than maybe those 8, 9. So 4 to 5 is even more susceptible for Authentic than normally in an 8-horse field, 9-horse field, 10-horse field. So I just think that's a thing to keep in mind if you are all in on Authentic. Just it's a little shorter field, just for a Haskell. Let's be realistic. It's not the best quality of all time.
No, it's not a deep race for sure. Do you guys want to talk about the 9th race at Saratoga real quick? That is basically a stakes race that they're running as an allowance. I know Magic, you talked about it on the Magic Mike show. If you want to dive into it for us a little bit, since you're probably set up a little better than everybody else. Since I kind of everybody there.
This is an interesting race because when Mike and I were talking about it, we're like, this is a better stakes race than the actual stakes race that's in the sequence on the card, the CCA Oaks, which is the next race. Because you got Digital Age, who's a grade 2 stakes winner in here because it's a non-winners of, I think, 4 lifetime. And usually Chad Brown's at 4 years old. They haven't raced that enough to have won 4 races. So Digital Age and Set Piece are both very strong. I'm surprised Digital Age is actually getting the favoritism here. I thought that Set Piece, I was seeing a lot of noise about him on horse racing Twitter. Sounded like a lot of people were going to bet him. So it'd be curious to see what the wheel pays are going to be like for that. So Mike and I both love Set Piece and Digital Age, and we both also really liked Ramsey Solution because this horse really showed a lot of impressive effort last time out, going a mile and a 16th with Tyler Gaffleone. This is the same mile and a 16th race and is a front runner. My question for you guys, because you guys watch Saratoga, especially historically more than I do, with an inner turf course versus an outer turf course, does it usually play to speed more because it's shorter stretches, tighter turns? Do you see that kind of an influence at a track that has an inner turf course?
Halter, you want to?
Oh yeah, sure. Yes, I think so. I think speed plays pretty well on that inner course. And then on the outer course, not so much. But that Ricky, what do you think?
Yeah, it's extremely, extremely tight turns. You need to be, I don't want to say on the lead because I think that's unfair. You need to be tactical. Otherwise, you'll be shuffled back. And it, like I said, it's obviously at Belmont, it's those long, winding turns that it's almost like as you're going, it's taking energy out of the horse. Here at Saratoga, if you don't do that, you'll be last. Just on the race itself, I think you're right. You mentioned Magic, the 3 horses. I have some connection to the one Red Right Hand, so I'll just peel back in terms of I don't want to give my opinion on what Red Right Hand will do. I don't think it's all that strong in this spot. I did not include a Red Right Hand, but that's what I'll be rooting for. So it's going to be a Red Right Hand will be a price. I can almost guarantee you that. Just know some of the connections there actually at the moment. But yeah, I think Magic, you hit the nail on the head in terms of this race is probably better than in terms of this is an extremely good, what we would say. I would say probably grade 3-ish race, maybe touch grade 2, the way the 2020 is going. But these all 3 of the horses you talked about, I think that if they take a step forward, can be in potential stakes races down the road in terms of, again, at the lower level. So this is a quality race. This could have a stakes name attached to it.
Yeah, I was with you guys on Ramsey Solution. I kind of like the pod discussion that you and Mike had about him and how this horse, the Ramseys don't name a horse after them very often. That's all interesting. And, I think this horse is going to be tough here. He's kind of if the 6 or 7 doesn't win, I think it's going to be the 2. I know it's on the 8 as well. I couldn't quite get there as far as thinking this was a good candidate to beat those top 3. I'm with you. I Set Piece. I heard a lot about him. People are kind of raving about that horse. Full age, I don't know. I guess factor. Right there at 3-2. So this is an interesting race for 6 minutes to post on it. I don't know, guys. We want to switch gears back to the Haskell. Over here and see what the odds are now.
This is making me laugh.
Let's see. Haskell odds.
3-5 and 8-5.
Yeah. Evil Steve will hit the super in the United Nations. Good job, Evil.
That's a nice super.
It's a very good super.
And the one on top.
Let's see. He had it. I wonder what he had it for. A 10-cent super paid $292.23.
Oof.
So maybe.
What was your ticket? What was your ticket, Evil?
Yeah.
I'm interested to know how you played that one.
Because that's a really good. That's a good 10-cent super right there, boys. $292.
Now, Evil, are you sure that you actually put in the ticket? Like, did you just want to play that? You forgot to put it in.
He did say at the end of it, and got paid. I think that's the key part here is that he says, and got paid. So,
gotcha.
Okay.
Just going back to that Saratoga race real quick, Magic, you were talking about the speed. There is a lot of speed. Not a lot of speed, but I think they'll be smart in terms of how do they set. They know the 6 and 7 will be coming. How do they set themselves up? You almost don't. Everyone wants that tactical advantage going that type of distance, and on the inner turf, but I think we might see it a touch slower than we normally would, just because everyone knows that the closers are the horses to beat. So I just wanted to touch on that. I think we might see 24 and change, but it's going to be slow. I don't think it's going to be as quick as the 6 and 7 would like it to be, even though they are the two best. I'd like
to see him. That's a good point. I'd like to see if he can get the lead. I'd like to see Tyler try and slow it down on the backstretch, and then about midway through that turn, just gun it. Because when it comes to turf races, especially when you've got a closing Chad Brown horse in there, you have to. I've seen Mike Smith do this before. You've just got to go before they do, because in hope that the horse just gets scared that it's not going to be able to get up there in time and kind of loses interest. Like if the horse is moving and sees that it's going to be closing past Ramsey Solution, Digital Age is going to get brave and go, okay, here we go. If Digital Age hits the top of the stretch and Ramsey Solution still, 4 or 5 lengths ahead, 3 lengths ahead even, I mean, is he going to have that drive to get in there and get up on the inner turf course? So we'll see what happens. But and I know that these are animals and not cars, so it's hard to tap the brakes, hit the gas. But Jared, what do you think?
Look at that. Evil. He boxed 5 horses for $12. Not many beers in to forget that. That's good. So nice cash, dude. That's a huge ticket. Man, that's who'd you what I mean, I guess it would have been, what horse did you not, what 5 horses, I guess, is the question. But that's a good ticket. For what do you say it was? 292? Is that what you said, Halterman?
92. Yep.
292 on a $12 bet.
Standard deviation maybe is who we used. I don't
know. That's a great ticket. Yeah. So 3 minutes till Saratoga. What do we got?
Let's see. What are we here?
For the record, the reason we always talk about staggering post times, right? And Saratoga and Monmouth today have done a great job. The reason that we've gotten to the point where we're like this is because we were both worried about the 5th race. The 4, I think Sabavia, we were sitting there for 5 minutes. This is why we're so close, because I don't think we're the only ones sitting here going back and forth between Saratoga and Monmouth, and even Woodbine in the True North. And I think the Sea of Tranquility just at Gulfstream, we're all at that 5:30, 6 o'clock spot where Magic gets busy on the race recaps. But I think this is why we're so close. So we're kind of going back and forth because of that inquiry and objection that took 5 to 10 minutes in the middle of the day, right around 2:30-ish, something like that.
Yeah, that was crazy. And I don't really know what they were looking at there. I thought that was pretty easy call, So, but we were pretty biased, I'm sure, on that point. We did not want that one winning that race.
Well, the minute Monmouth's interesting. The minute they start from behind the horses, their first angle is always behind the horses when they're showing inquiries and objections. And it's ironic. The other tracks usually start pan, and then they'll go head on, and then they'll go back to the back, and it's Monmouth almost goes like left to right, behind, pan, front, or head on. So the minute I saw, because sometimes we want to see the horses from behind, and that gives you a better view, and they don't always show it. The minute I saw that, I knew we were home, because there was nothing. As you said, there was nothing there. So
yeah, well, good. Does Inside Post hurt Dr. Post here? What do you guys think?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I think it limits him a little bit early on, but it's such a small field that it's hard to me. I have a hard time blaming or having an issue with a post position when it's a small field like 7 horses. I mean, to me, it's if you're the best horse, the post position in 7 horse field shouldn't really matter.
No, I don't think so either. Just quickly looking at the horses to his outside. I mean, the immediate horse to his outside, to his outside is Authentic, so he's going to gun it to the lead. I mean, I really think it's probably going to help him, because I think he's going to sit a pretty nice pocket trip, and I don't think there'll be too many horses to his outside, because I think he's got enough tactical speed to kind of just get away from there and sit on the rail there, maybe 3rd or 4th. I think he'll be fine.
The big question for me is, does Authentic break clean? If he gets out of the gate clean, I think he's going to win. I just don't know how strongly I feel that he's going to get out of there. Okay. I mean, that was one of his big issues this season. I don't think he was being on AP either way, but he didn't get out of the gate very well in that race, and he's run green in the past. So Are you guys concerned about that? The gate break for him?
Yeah, I
I
think
think
with him
so.
drawn to the inside, you're worried about it, and especially with him because he has the history of doing it. And the other thing with Authentic, if he breaks poorly and he somehow is not in the lead at the first turn, his race is over, right? Like it's done. So if he breaks poorly, he will be gunned to the front because he has to be. And what will that take out of him? I think that's the biggest question mark for me in terms of Authentic not breaking. I mean, it could be a real disaster if he does.
Right.
Yeah.
I've got him going in the gate at Saratoga, by the way.
Yep.
And who's everyone on? I was 6'7", 267, something in that range.
Oof.
Yeah, I put the 7 on top. I just can't get away from Chad. But
Yep. Same.
I mean, neither one surprises me here, though.
Yeah, I like Chad. I've always liked Digital Age. I think he's gonna be tough here.
Well, and it's a classic Ricky move. Chad Brown, Clairvich Stables, Irad Ortiz on the turf in New York. Like, do you need any more information? I don't care. It could be a mule, and you're like, that donkey's probably going to come from last and win. So,
well, it's almost funny if we put a grade 3 tag on this, they'd still be these odds, right? So even though the field might be slightly tougher around them, I think we'd still see the 6 and 7 at these odds, which I think kind of says what these two horses are. The fact that they're in an AOC. This is the highest AOC I believe that Saratoga might even offer on the turf. So I don't think, Halty, tell me if I'm wrong, I don't think they do 100K AOCs. So this other tracks do, obviously. I know they do in Kentucky. I think this is the best that Saratoga's got to offer. So,
and if you guys missed it on the turn, the 6 horse
set piece, went straight up the butt of the 8 horse.
Yeah, he did badly, and he's in last, so that's not good. And at Digital Age now, if you bet him to win, you're feeling really good because he's in the perfect spot.
And Ramsey Solutions third. Not that he can't win from off, but I was surprised how hard Jose pushed Noble Indies. You see, he quarter horsed him the whole way down the stretch the first time to get the lead.
Yeah, it's like Jose kind of said, we're not winning unless we're on the lead, so let's do it.
24 and 2 and 49 flat. That's what I was saying.
That's what I wanted the 2 to do.
Well, right, but that was from the point that you had to go slow to have any chance because they're
this
coming.
Race is over.
They're.
Yeah.
I just want to point out, red right hand is
the
still in
carbon
second.
copy right here. I mean, look at this.
It's over. That was over halfway through the turn.
Yeah, I think you guys are ahead.
I mean, you're talking red right hand ran well. He outran his odds. Halfway through that far turn, this race was over.
Yeah.
When you see those red and white silks move like that 4 wide, that's it. Yep. It's over.
I mean, you can take any horse of Chad Brown's and cut it out and then throw it in the other one in that same move, and you're like, it's over. I mean, that's like the patented Chad Brown turf horse move. Magic and I almost said it at the exact same time. It's like, it's over because you could just tell when a horse like Chad Brown that Chad Brown trained on the turf makes that move. It's very rare that you see them not finish the race in front.
Yeah, and I think if you're the 1, 2, 4, anyone else, you did as well as you thought you could in terms of just slowing it down. And that was obviously the point we all kind of touched on, that your only choice was to do what they just did, which was 24 and 2, almost 24 and 3, 49, and almost 49 flat. So that was your only choice. Not that you were going to win anyway, but that's kind of what you needed. And then kind of hope.
And if you bet them, you're happy that you're not happy with the result necessarily, but you're not mad because the jockey did something stupid that they weren't supposed to. If you're a bettor and you thought Noble Indy's going to go to the lead and take this, gate to wire, you tried, just wasn't good enough.
Yeah. All right. So
by the way,
you close to this. Go ahead.
I was just going to say you could have bought Noble Indy for $80,000 today. By the way.
They are close to the starting gate for the Haskell Authentic 1-2, 9-5 on Dr. Post. So I mean, pretty much what we thought as far as Dr. Post being under 2-1 and Authentic being under even money. So I think Authentic's my pick, but playing him at 1-2, like I just don't have any interest in playing him at 1-2. It's just like I would, I'm a lot, live on all the pick 4s and stuff, and I'm fine with that. Just move on because I really just want to buy this race. Let's talk real quickly though while they're waiting. Like, is there any in terms of the actual picture? This is a very we're here to make money, but also this is for the Kentucky Derby, also for the Classic. Do you guys see any? I mean, we know I feel like I know what Authentic and Dr. Post. I think we talked about this a little on Blinkers Off. Dr. Post is at least the horse out of those two that you feel like still could prove you. Like, say he wins today, you're like, might be an up and coming horse. Whereas Authentic, you kind of feel like you know who he is.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I'm not real excited about either one going forward unless Dr. Post wins this race by like 2 or 3 lengths, and then all of a sudden that answer changes. But I really think it's going to be Authentic wins or Dr. Post wins a pretty close race, and I think we're going to say the same thing that we said before the race: is these are 2 pretty good horses. They probably can't beat Tis the Law on our AP. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but Dr. Post, the last time he faced Tis the Law, was not anywhere close. So, he's going to have to improve a lot, and Tis the Law is going to have to come back a little bit. So now we're going to see if he improves, right? I mean, this is the big key right here for him. And this is going to be his last race before the Derby. So this is his major race.
Yeah, in terms of the big picture, I think Halty really hit it on the head. I think we're both looking at, or we're all looking, I should say, at horses that would probably finish in the 5th through 8th range in the Derby if you just lined all the horses that are healthy, not suspended, not points taken away, whatever the factors are in, you just line them up in the gate, and 1 through 20. I'd say we're probably looking at contenders 4 through 7. Yeah. Or 5 through 8. I don't know, whatever you could.
Yeah. Authentic reminds me of Improbable. And that was like the way that his season has gone is how Improbables kind of went last year. He wins the smaller races, and when you give him a true blue grade 1 superstar to face, he's just second best. So that's how I see him.
I'll throw it to you guys. Forget about Gamine for a minute. Would you take Swiss Skydiver off that last effort? Or would you, because we're talking about bigger picture, or would we take whoever finishes first? And I'll let you even decide after the race. I should have posed the question maybe afterward, because that might determine your answer. But I'm just saying, say Authentic going in is probably better. Let's just assume it's one of the two, whoever it is. Who would you take? Because Swiss Skydiver still probably won't be pointing in the Derby direction, but the question was on the table last week.
And Authentic broke really well.
Yes, he did.
He goes right to the lead. Mike Smith isn't going to. Yeah, that's the thing with Mike Smith. But he gets like a start like that, he's not going to give it up. So here we go. Mike Smith's going to take him to the front.
Yeah, New York Traffic just sitting right off in second. So that pretty much is how you drew it up. But Dr. Post is a little further back than I thought he would be. I don't know about you guys. I
didn't like the rail draw for. I usually, if I like a horse a lot to win, I don't like that he's on the rail. So.
You talk about, we talk about Chad Brown in the turn. If Bob Bafford's got this horse right, this race is over too.
Yep.
Dr. Post did Authentic a favor by just dropping to the back and showing zero pressure to the rail. It just let Authentic kind of dive in. I think that was important.
47-5. I mean, for a championship horse, if he is that's not very fast, and he's done it uncontested. He has no excuse here. That's
no excuse.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, your biggest threat right now is getting pumped already.
Yeah, he looks Dr. Post.
He looks bad. Dr. Post, I don't know. He's starting to get going a little bit, but it's going to – no, I mean – So Mike has not asked anything
through the whole way.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's making a move now. He's going to get up into third here when they enter the stretch.
Posty.
But he hasn't asked anything of Authentic yet. So we're about to see Authentic get going here. Dr. Post is getting going here. He might be able to make a little bit of a run.
He's making
Look at this, though.
Authentic's
he's going to make a run to second. Authentic.
Oh, God. Oh, look out.
Slimmy.
Oh.
I think Authentic got it. I think Authentic got it.
Too, but.
He's trash as far as the Derby. If that horse runs.
That wall hit him hard.
That horse is a mile, period.
He's improbable.
How about Saratoga Slim's week? He goes, didn't he have NY traffic in this race?
Wow.
Yeah, so we're looking at the 10th to 12th contender in the Derby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, so that was fun.
So people are asking who won. I'm not sure.
I thought it was
I'm
authentic.
watching it now. Now I'm watching it live on the NBC. So let's see if I give another take here. Let's see what I think of it is on live.
Mike didn't even hit him
Authentic.
until this 16th hole.
Authentic.
At no point did it seem like
Oh,
NY
no,
Traffic.
he never even got past.
Yeah, and NY Traffic never got the right bob.
There was never
right.
There was never a bob until after the wire. So yeah, that's authentic. Halterman, you got the win there on your horse. Dr. Post, did he finish third? Did he hold on for third?
Yeah, he was third.
Kind of stopped watching him.
In that race.
What?
Dr. Post was awful.
Yeah, he was awful. He let's see so he definitely got a good bob too. Authentic did. So Saratoga Slim has talk about the range of emotions that Saratoga Slim has had this week. He goes from getting DQ'd, his star horse Charlatan getting DQ'd and going down to 1 point in the fantasy league, turns around, wins the Peter Pan with Country Grammar, gets 50, so now he's at 51. Now he gets second, almost wins the damn Haskell with NY Traffic, a horse that, definitely has, increased expectations. Gets another 25. So all of a sudden he goes from 1 point earlier in the week, things looking bleak, to 76 points, just like that. So congrats to Slim.
He's alive, right?
He's safely out of the doghouse where he looked in danger of potentially in the running for last. So he protects himself there. And then the big story here is, you two don't care about who's last. You care about Magic Mike Show and Aaron Halterman going at it. Tis the Law, Dr. Post, on your guys' team, Dr. Post obviously finishing third there, and Authentic. Man, Halterman, you're right there. You guys are neck and neck. These are the two front runners in the league right now.
Yeah, Magic, do you hear the footsteps? Do you hear those? They're coming at you, son. No, my biggest problem is I don't have anybody for the Travers, and they've got the 3 to 5 choice for the Travers. So it's a huge problem. But yeah, I'm within, I think, like 11 points now. Look, guys, this horse is not any good at 1 1/8, period. And I got to tell you something. After that performance I just saw from him, how good is Honor AP? I don't know.
That's a good. I think that might be the better question. Just for Honor AP might still be a step below. Magic's got his West Coast bias, but honestly, Honor AP, what was it, a 2.5 length win, 2 1/4? I
defeated. Yeah.
I know, but we just saw NY Traffic, who none of us gave a chance, and I'll mention NY Traffic.
Definitely did for second,
right? With what, the final 50 yards or so, but that not going into it. I just want to touch on NY Traffic. I think the perfect spot for NY Traffic might be potentially the Jim Dandy down the road, just because Safi Joseph has brought his horses. He even said earlier, either yesterday or today, that for the first time he's brought a slew of horses to Saratoga, and usually it's one off, one on. He's got a stable there now, and I think NY Traffic is not at that, obviously, the Travers or the Haskell level. But I think after this performance, tell me NY Traffic's not a major player for the Jim Dandy. I think it's right in September. I think not normally when it is, but that's a spot I would look for NY Traffic next. Give him some time and come back then.
Well, that was what NY Traffic got. I mean, he's definitely
he's in
the Derby now. So you've got Slim's got 3 horses? No, 2 horses, I guess. NY Traffic and Country Grammar that are in the Derby now. So it's going to be interesting on that regard of how many of these horses that are in the Derby that actually do they run in the Derby? Where do they, because you got a lot of these horses that are just trash that are, going to qualify for the Derby and have enough points, but it's like, are you really going to run in it? And given the time, usually you say yes, but given the timing of it this year being in the fall, and of course the Breeders' Cup right there, you're kind of like, do you want to race in a race that you have no shot, and instead go towards another race that you might have a chance of winning. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because you look at Authentic, and I mean, you look at these top two, and you're like, would you want anything to do with these horses in the Kentucky Derby? I mean, Dr. Post is in. The top three are in the Kentucky Derby. Do you want anything to do with any of those three to win the Kentucky Derby?
Nope.
Authentic's in the Classic now. Do you want anything to do with Authentic in the Classic? He won't even run in the Classic.
I want him in the Classic because he's going to take so much stupid money. Please go to the Classic with this horse.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think we learned anything positive from this race. I don't think any of us could look at the PPs or going forward and say, yep, I'll buy stock into either three, honestly. So maybe, again, like I said, the only positive move I saw was NY Traffic might be a player in the Jim Dandy. And honestly, and I'm being serious, I don't know where it's a lower level grade one. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's about it. Because I thought NY Traffic obviously ran a winning race. And I think that was one of the better performances from him. So, but there's not much to buy into this race.
Yeah. Well, here, I'm going to put this up here. I agree 100% with what Sean's saying there. I think NY Traffic would win the Jim Dandy. I don't think he's going to the Jim Dandy. I think he'll be in the Derby, where he will finish what you said right after the race, 8th through 10th. So.
Well, I think that's legitimate. Sorry, Jack. But I think that's legitimate though, because if Tisselaw is sound, gets through the Travers and is sound, is that a chance you want to take? Yeah, you're going to be in the Derby, but if we're looking in terms of being realistic, it's just an unrealistic spot for NY Traffic because he couldn't pass Authentic. We all agree Authentic's what after this 8th through 10th. Like I don't know where you would put NY Traffic. That's. I don't know. I think some owners are just unrealistic with what, and this isn't. It's a wide open field after Tis the Law. So if Tis the Law's for hopefully knock on wood is there, then maybe that's a different question because then it's wide open. Then you can have 5, 6, 7 winners. I think, but
well, listen, you're gonna have. I think this year you're gonna have a very interesting Derby as far as payouts go because I think we're gonna see. Some big payouts because even if you have Tiz on top, there's going to be some weird wild horse that's got no shot to win that runs up for second or third. And, even the year, one of our biggest tries of our life, whenever Halter and I hit the try in the Derby with Always Dreaming won the race. And it was one of the biggest tries in Kentucky Derby history. So you don't necessarily have to have the favorite lose the Derby in order to cash in big for the try, and that's going to be what I feel like we're going to see something like that this year because you're going to have just a chunk. It's going to be like you say, because now we're starting to see, you have at least beg the question how good Honor AP is, but you still have those top two, and then after that, it's just a mess. I mean, it's chaos. It's whoever might. It's, I mean, it's Country House. Who wants to run big on that one day and is going to run up and well, technically finish second? And that's what I feel like it's going to be. So, I mean, you have I have Ete Indian and Dean, and he has no shot. But he's like 7th in points, And so unless he's absolutely hurt, just to your point, like what if NY Traffic runs if they have the points, they're running. And do they have a shot? No, but still, what if Ete holds on for third, or what if NY Traffic comes flying at the end and gets third? I mean, these are the kind of payouts that are going to be massive in the Derby.
And it could happen. It could definitely happen. And I listen. We're assuming Tiz the Law is going to be there. What happens if he's not for some reason? Then it gets wide.
You watch your mouth.
Well, that was the point I was making. If knock on wood, Tiz the Law is there and everything safe, sound, gets through the Travers, healthy, works well, all that good stuff. But if you did remove Tiz the Law, this would be one of the most wide open derbies we've seen in years. That to the point where if you made the gate, I think you had a shot because whoever the favorite is would be the weakest favorite we've ever seen in terms of just someone you would want to go against. You could start playing this. That would be Samich's Derby where you're already looking at 12, 15, 20 to 1s to start. You wouldn't, you'd start to fade. Honor AP would probably be the favorite if you remove Tiz the Law. And I think that's makes it wide open. So I don't know if You're not going to win with Tiz the Law in most likely, but you got a shot for second, like Jared just said.
Well, two horses I know that aren't going to win the Derby this year is Authentic and three. Authentic, Dr. Post, and New York Traffic.
I strongly disagree with this awful trip. I mean, it's like it's like we talked about. It's like we talked at the beginning. It's 7-horse field. You can't. I mean, the horse he got a pocket trip. I mean, he just wasn't good enough. I mean, I don't see what trip were you wanting out of him. That would have made any difference whatsoever. He drew the one. He had the shortest distance around. He didn't get stopped. I mean, what were you wanting him to do?
He wanted the one where he wins. I already told you. I needed the one. Look, it's what it is. He didn't show up. He had a bad trip because
that was bad.
He sucked.
Who?
He was flat.
So let's see here. What are we at? Let's move over to Saratoga. We're 12 minutes from the CCA Oaks, tonal shape, 8-5. Obviously a big scratch this morning. It was all tap for Chad Brown. Really, I mean, that was your top pick all through now. It seemed like that horse was going to get hammered because that was everyone's pick. Crystal Ball for Bob Baffert, 5-2, 5-2 on Paris Lights. It's only a 5-horse field. CCA Grade 1 CCA Oaks, which is also a Kentucky Oaks, official race here. So it's kind of a shitty field when you talk about that. Tonal shape already has the points, so it really has no need as far as what she needs to do here. But it is a nice race if you are wanting to see, you get a mile and eighth race. It's a prep into the Oaks. That's an important race. But I don't know. Do you guys see anything in this race like as far as that gets you? I mean, all tap. We talked about in the pod. All tap was the horse that you at least were excited about, that you thought if this horse ran really well again could make some noise in towards the Oaks.
Right, Magic. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to talk. I wanted to. Everybody made fun of Honor AP and said he was bad, and you're all stupid for it. So I don't want to talk anymore.
We just asked if he was bad. We didn't say he was bad.
No, because go watch the race. Go watch the St. Anita Derby. He did that with his eyes closed.
He should.
Well, that was a 5-horse
Distance
field.
helps
that was a 5-horse
him.
Field that day, right?
Distance helps him. Okay, Authentic can't go past a mile and an eighth. He won this because there's nobody else, and the Dr. Post was shit. Like, don't Honor AP at a mile and a quarter. The only horse I want more than that is the Law.
I'll be honest. Every time I get on social or whatever, and I see a post that says anything that says "Tis the Law," my first reaction is, well, he's done. Like it's an announcement saying something's happened. Like that's you keep waiting for that day, but "Tis the Law" is like off the trail now. Or Honor. It's like it just seems like that's the way this year's been. So, and I don't question it. I don't doubt it. Running the Travers, you have to do it. But running the Travers prior to the Derby is rolling the dice. It's rolling the dice because you're asking a lot of a horse to win that kind of race. Obviously, it's unlike any other year where you need to prep for a mile and quarter race with a mile and quarter race, and it's also known as the Travers. But that's the world we're in this year. And then on top of that, you don't know how he's going to come out of it.
Jared's hammered on those Trulies. You bring up a really great point, Jared, about that. I would be a little concerned, except the way that he's been training and acting in his training is they're having a hard time keeping him held down. And I think it's one of those cases where if they don't run him in the Travers and they wait till the Derby, he's going to explode because he's just he has so much energy built up that he wants to go. So I think you have to run him one more time based off of how he's been working. Even this morning, the clockers were raving about just how strong and effortless he was and how hard he was to pull up. So I don't know. I'd say go for the Travers, and if it ends up hurting him in the Kentucky Derby, I mean that was shitty, but you had to do it for him.
So the rider.
Well, I know where Halterman stands on that. He wants to win Travers. So
if he was mine, he would be in the Travers, 1,000%. Yeah.
Remember when I asked you why would you send Justify to the Travers? Because I didn't understand anything yet before Justify got retired.
Well, Magic, just to back your point on Tis the Law this morning, the rider didn't pull the whip out, but it slid out of her pocket, and Tis the Law jumped. So that's the type of horse that not jumped, but exploded, right, and started kicking it in because there's a legitimate concern that Tiz the Law saw the whip and didn't want to be touched. So it just slipped out. And I think that's like, we're talking about Tiz the Law, just the awareness, just the intelligence. There's a lot that's obviously just goes into these horses. And just even that this morning, which again, the whip slipping out was completely by accident. Obviously you're not hitting Tiz the Law in a workout weeks before, but nonetheless, just that awareness to know that, oh, here it comes, I got to go. Right. You can't just wait that long, because we talked about King Guillermo waiting months, right? And we're going to see what type of move that, what happens there. But which I think we're all against. Steve, we even said, I think Halty, we talked about it. Put him in an allowance optional at Saratoga. Put him in whatever you could find, even in Kentucky. Just start getting him north, or find somewhere. Just get him going, because you don't know how he's going to respond after not seeing horses, and obviously there's not going to be a crowd, but nonetheless, you just don't know how they're going to respond when it's go time off that, off a huge layoff. And usually these horses off layoff, they're hurt. They're not planned this long in advance. So I would also have Tiz the Law running in something, even if it wasn't the Travers.
Yeah, King Guillermo. Whoops, I didn't turn my sound off. King Guillermo, a horse to me that needs, like you said, he doesn't need a stakes race, Ricky, but you hit it right on the head. Get him a race somewhere, even if it's 5 horses at Ellis Park and he wins by 12. Would just like to see him once between the first Saturday in May and the first Saturday in September. I don't know. Maybe they're gearing him up, and the Preakness is where he's really going to fire.
Well, I'll kick it a Magic. If they bring him out to Del Mar, he might run a match race. He might only have one other horse to face, 2. Or how Magic? I know Magic hates me after bringing up the short field. If he runs, he'll find himself a 4 or 5 horse field, grade 3, small, and he could run by himself. It'll almost be a paid workout for King Guillermo.
Del Mar historically has better field sizes than Saratoga, so shut up. I've got the stats to back that up.
Just like Crystal Ball ran in a 4-horse race last time out. Well, 5-horse race.
Idea for King Guillermo. You guys ready for it?
Ellis Park?
Believe, right? Because Honor AP is trash, and he could get a real nice, easy stakes win out of it.
How many are probables or for the shared belief match? Do you know?
2 years, I think.
Oh, right. So
it's
so
hard.
He would be 3.
Well, probably 1,000 words will probably show up, or Azul Coast, one of those two. Take your pick. Honor AP, Cezanne. You might see Rushy. When is the share belief? August 8th? Maybe not.
August 1st.
McCarthy. What was that other horse McCarthy had in the San Diego Derby that had just broke his maiden or whatever? Threw in there. That horse might show up. I'm sure Doug O'Neill's got something clinking around that he'll throw in.
It sounds like a field.
Yeah, it sounds.
That's about it.
It sounds like a field King Guillermo could not take down on his best day. Basically,
even Honor AP should win that one. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's how ironic is it that in the year of 2020, the New York bred is by far, in a way, the best of the group. And when I was with Paul down in Monmouth, we were saying, normally we're not. If you just had to pick a group, Florida, Kentucky, California, New York, and whatever you want to throw in there, New York's usually last. And this year, Tiz the Law, the New York bred, by far and away, the best. Now it might be a weak Derby field just compared to normal years, but nonetheless, the New York bred is going to try to do the sweep. We've been 4 for 4. Hopefully everything again stays smooth, but it would be interesting. It would just be another quirk in the year of 2020, what we're living in right now. So,
well, guys, we are 4 minutes away from a Grade 1 race at the Spa, and we have talked very little about it.
Speaking of great field sizes here.
Yeah, with a huge field of 5, this is a really good running of the coaching club, no doubt. And this is in comparison to, say, a year of Songbird and Karina Mia.
Oh, God, that was a great one.
This is a little different. But Magic, I'll kick it to you because you guys talked about a lot on that Magic Mike show y'all do. I'll tell you,
Man, I think Jared said earlier, Altaf scratchy, man, that one hurt because we were hearing. First of all, thank you, Aaron, because it's stupid. I could have made about the stupidest decision I've made in a long time, and almost singled tonalist shape in my early or my late pick 4 ticket here. Then I asked you if that was crazy, and you said yes. So thank you for that. Altaf would have been a really wonderful thing. So Paris Lights was my second horse in, so that's going to be my top pick here. The fact that she's posted back-to-back 85 buyers, I think, is really impressive. Getting Gaffleon is a great sign. He doesn't usually ride for Bill Mott that often. I just think this horse is, especially being a Curlin filly, I have a lot of questions about tonalist shape handling this distance. Antoinette, can she actually win on the dirt? And she just seems to like to run second, third a lot. I have a lot of questions about a lot of horses. I don't have any about Paris Lights. I think that she's going to be able to pass this test. But what did you guys think?
I end up with Paris Lights on the pod. I just felt like, but two I liked were Altaf the Paris Lights. I just like that, Paris Lights hasn't really done a lot wrong. She's gonna sit, she's been sitting some nice trips on the outside, and here we are again. She's gonna sit another nice trip on the outside. To me, I would rather take her at a price than sit there and take, off of tonalist shape.
Yeah. Ricky, you like tonalist shape a little bit though, right?
Yeah, I do like tonalist shape, and I was almost hoping Altaf for. Yeah, I think the scratch of Altaf and even Halty. We were talking about it last night when we were, when I was putting it together. I was like, "There's so much buzz on Altaf. You're not the 5-to-line morning line. David Aragona does a great job. There's no way you were getting 5-to-1. So we even said that last night. You were going to look at anywhere from 2-to-1 to 3-to-1, and just listening here, you guys are obviously." Know what you're talking about. A lot of people out there knew Altaf was a buzz. So you weren't going to get that. But if we look at, I think Paris Lights is up and up, but what tonalist shape hasn't really done anything wrong outside of that one poor effort where Swiss Skydiver really kind of put herself on the map. I think you're going to take a lower price on tonalist shape, and I think Altaf definitely being in the field would have kind of helped. If you were in my camp of tonalist shape, I obviously think it's the 1-6. Just on some of the horses, like Antoinette hasn't won in months. Like if some people are going other directions, and this is kind of, you're making a case, I think, for other horses when you don't need to. So we just talked about the Haskell where we kind of said 1-2, and we got lucky, I think, because NY traffic almost blew that up for a lot of people. But I think it's kind of the same situation that if you went 1-6, I know Crystal Ball's going to get some touch and the 2, but I'm in the tonalist shape camp, Halty, to back year. I think there was just one bad effort, and if it was just off that effort alone, I might be with you guys. But she ran, I thought, pretty well coming back on May 15th. There's a long layoff set. Like I said, Safi Joseph has a barn to his own now. It's not just one here, one there. I would expect a big effort from her today.
Aaron, can I ask you a question? You brought up on the pod you're concerned about Authentic and how my racehorse was buying in. The 5 and the 6 here are both owned by, technically it's like WinStar Partners or something like that. It's basically WinStar created their own micro share opportunity at a much higher price than my racehorse charges. But the 5 and the 6 are both horses that they're WinStar, a breeder, is saying, "Hey, you guys can join in, aka help us pay the bills because we maybe don't think they're going to be that strong." Does that concern? I guess Aaron and Jared, does that concern you at all with the 5 or the 6, who's my top choice?
I think in a normal grade 1, it would concern me. But in
this
Antoinette, Velvet Crush, and I'm going to take my chances and say tonalist shape, but the favorite I'm against, no. If they were facing Songbird here, yeah, I'd be pretty concerned they're not. I think these 2 horses are going to win this race and go on and be major Kentucky Oaks players, if that's what you're asking, for sure. Am I concerned down the road? Yes. Right now, not as much.
God, I miss Songbird. You're making me miss Songbird so much.
I honestly, when I handicapped, I thought the same thing. I was like, do you really want to pick this horse considering, the ownership? And there's, kind of like you said, there's got to be some sort of lack of, this horse wouldn't be in this kind of partnership if it was really good, so then you kind of have that. Whoa. But in this build, it's kind of like,
Velvet Crush spotted him about 20 lengths out of the gate there.
Wow.
She just the gate's open and she said, "No, I'm good."
This is Tonal Shape is rank.
Yes, she is. She did not like being crossed over on. She said, "Screw you."
She wants to run. She's loaded right now. 24-4 for the opening quarter.
Yeah, and I think Velvet Crush was kind of the one that we all would have thrown out anyway, realistically. So I don't think that's going to affect too much unless it just gets real hot, and it's not. So I think they, in the backstretch here, as they start to position themselves, they're all in a good spot.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
6-5 is low, just for the record. 6-5 is low. Tonal Shape. A little too low for my liking, but I still like where she is.
Tell you what, old Bobby B is cruising here on the front end, it seems like. 6 is pressing now, though, at least.
Yeah.
It's going to get interesting.
Definitely quickened in that
Whoa,
second.
there she goes. Well, she started to. Sorry. It looked like at my feet, all of a sudden, like the 6 shot forward. I thought she had it won.
Paris Lights looks pretty good here.
Gaffleone was peeking at the quarter pole.
Yeah, she has no excuse from here.
Come on, girl. Get home.
Come on, 6, get home. It's going to be 6 or 5. Tonal Shape ran well.
Yeah, there goes Tonal Shape. I mean,
Paris Lights, but
is Velvet Crush going to beat Tonal Shape?
No,
Yeah.
that's crystal
come
ball.
on, Paris Lights.
Come on,
Get
Paris. Dig in there, girl. She's got it.
You smart.
Oh God, bless.
She got it, but that was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be.
Shit.
Woof. All right.
Had to get past that Baffert juice. Shit.
I need to come on live feeds every second of the day.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we hit everything.
Yeah, every race. Monmouth race 13 is not the one to say that right before it.
Yeah, no shit. We got live tickets too. So we need to stop. Yeah, we've just completely fucked it now. So it's over.
That was your one, Jared.
Oh yeah. So we've got Stop Charging Marina, Carlina, Songbird, Abel, Tasman, Monomoy Girl, Guarna, and then Paris Lights. So there you go. But that's what we have. So the world we live in is all I like to say on the podcast. This is it. So she's in the Kentucky Oaks. So in this, what is that now? 3 in a row for her. So
she's an okay.
It's 3 in a row.
She's okay, right?
Yeah, I mean that was a nice effort.
Yeah.
I was more impressed with Crystal Ball than her.
Now,
to be honest.
Altaf, what would Altaf done here? I mean, that's easy. I mean, hard, impossible question, but it's fun to say. Like, do you think, considering how they ran here, do you think Altaf would have won? Considering how good Altaf you think she was or is?
She's got a stronger turn of foot than either one of those showed. That's for sure.
Yeah. I would probably say Altaf would have won that race. Yeah, but it's easy to say of the horse that didn't show up.
Yeah.
So
you got Paris Lights is a horse that lost on debut, then came out and broke her maiden, going 2 turns a mile 16th at Churchill Downs, and did it by 6 and like 2, almost 7 lengths, and then did it again, 1 by 4 almost in another allowance, or an allowance at another time at Churchill Downs, and then now she wins Grade 1 CCA Oaks. Kind of coming off the pace. She's a very like right on the pace, but not on the pace kind of horse, kind of stalker, pounces at the end, and being a curl. And like you mentioned, Magic, I mean, this is a horse that seems like just kind of doesn't quit a lot, like kind of just keeps coming. And so it's a horse that, I mean, honestly, a horse that you would have to pay attention. I mean, Bill Mott trained, you've got kind of the right connections here, and Gaffleone, who obviously is just red hot wherever. I mean, he's one of the most red hot jockeys in the country right now. You have him. I mean, it's a horse that you could definitely see making some noise in the Oaks. Maybe not to win, but a horse that would keep coming, right?
I don't know what his are. No, I think so.
No?
Yeah, I don't think that she's fast enough to keep up with the top fillies in the group. And so if those fillies get brave up front, meaning like Gamine or Swiss Skydiver, if one of them gets brave up front, I don't know. I could see her definitely hitting the board. I think that she is a great hit the board candidate, and like what Aaron does for the guide, if across the board kind of a value play, I think you could get something out of it. Because I think you're going to look at this race as a handicapper and go, well, Tonalist Shape was a favorite, and she ran like shit. So, how good was this field really? I think you could get a good enough price on her in the Kentucky Oaks and across the board, and hope that she gets lucky. I still wouldn't play her to win though.
Where are we in the Wolf Hill?
They're
in the gate. They're in the. I know some of the tickets are going to end here in the 13th. Anyone? I know Halty, you're still alive to some stuff.
Yeah.
What are we cheering for here?
I need 5, 6, 9, or 11 here.
I need the 5 and 9 for the Jersey Shore 6 and the late pick 4. So it's interesting to shoot here though, because this isn't the most popular distance and turf, so there's a little shoot. I think that's might pose a problem for Shecky. I'm not. I don't know if it will. I mean, but it's interesting. Obviously, you don't see the shoot, at 5.5 except for Monmouth, really. For this short of a distance, it's usually route races. So
right.
That's my boy 3 Rules. I can't believe he's in here. Why is 3 Rules in this race?
I have no idea.
If he wins this, I might cry on air.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I want the 11 out in front. Okay, that's
You're going to get it.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, come on, 11. Just wire.
So there's the favorite Shecky. I think is that 5th? About 3 into the 3 or 4 path out there.
Yep. Come on, 11.
Well, you can root for the 11. I'll root for the 5 and 9 for us.
Well, we're okay here.
Wow.
You had 5 and 9, Ricky?
Yeah, 5 and 9. The 5's not on the rail. Shecky doesn't look like moving. The 11
looks like he misses his old trainer.
Yeah.
Right there, he would have surged. The old Shecky would have surged right there.
And there's
Come on, 11. Come on, 11. Hold on. Oh, damn it. Ugh.
We got the 6.
Oh, you did have a 6. Sorry. Okay.
We got the try.
Yeah, but 11 would have been a little nicer.
Yeah, but we got the try, and we got another one. So.
Hey, it's too bad Samich isn't here, because that's a former Navarro trainee that is in somebody else's barn. I don't know who.
Yeah. Asmussen wins with Art, and honestly, that was the problem with Archidust and with Shecky Sabaz for me. They were really tough because they're with different trainers now, but you also had to look at it and say, well, they were really, really good. Like Chunnel ran earlier on the card. I believe it was race 4, right, Ricky? That Chunnel was a former Navarro horse, and that horse is garbage. But you kind of like it. But Navarro moved that horse way up, but he was competing at the lower level. So it's like, well, maybe he doesn't come back, but maybe you can throw Archidust and Shecky Sabaz didn't run that well, but they're at least like stakes quality. So you have to have some talent to get to that level, no matter what they're shooting you up with. Archidust came back and ran well there. And happy for my good friend Steve Asmussen to get a victory there.
Yeah, I think if Archidust or Archidust, whatever, wasn't fit in this spot perfectly. So, and sometimes we talk about, even Magic is, when you have the Service Navarro and they're dropping precipitously, that's when you're worried, right? So, but when these horses are kind of running at this level, I think Archidust, whatever the name is, and Asmussen, I think it was still a play that if you were a fan of before, I think you could still be a fan of now. I think 5-2 is a tad low, but nonetheless, I don't think in certain situations, I don't know if I would have been scared. Like you had the 6, you weren't scared to just throw off the ticket completely.
Ooh, Shecky's going to come down.
Shecky is?
It looks like there's a stewards inquiry. He came over and screwed with the 7 and the 5 a little bit.
He did?
Yeah, but it's like midway home. He drifted in a little bit.
Man, Halterman, I got to give you some credit here. Just red hot. You obviously got the 10-1 earlier, and you had the 11 on top there at 8-1, who damn near pulled it off there again.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this a big suck it to everybody that just always get criticizing for playing chalk all the time. Good Lord. These prices are coming in left and right, and here we are going into the last leg. We'll see some wheel pays coming up. the last leg of the pick 5 to try to hit both the early and late pick 5s.
Well, I handicap races and I look at it and I say, who's going to win the race? Who's most likely to win? I don't just go, well, he's 20-1, so I'm throwing him in there and I'm going to praise. So when you buy a guide and I have favorites picked and the favorites win all the races, I don't really know what you want me to do about that. I love that I'm pigeonholed where you play a lot of chalk. Well, I also hit a lot of winners. So kind of what you have to do sometimes. And it gets a little old that even my own team here thinks I'm just a chalk player. No, I play who I think is going to win the race.
Well, it's funny. Wasn't it the Met Mile guide that got a lot of heat and it was a chalky day left and right,
Yeah.
Your 3 grade 1s were all won by favorites. You had Kameen, Alexandra, that was the Belmont. I'm sorry. That's what I was thinking of. We had 3 grade 1s and it was the favorite one, all 3 of them.
I think the Belmont might have been the chalky day.
Yeah.
It was like a $17 early pick 5, I believe.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that number, but I think it was to the point where even money was a big price on that, especially early on. Was that one of the guys? Decorated Invader was on there too early in the card. So and we saw what Decorated Invader did again today. Probably the best 3-year-old on the turf. I think that's kind of fair to say at this point. But it was super chalky. So Halty. I mean, you pick winners, right? And it is what it is after that.
That horse, by the way, Decorated Invader, man, that horse is looking awesome right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's looking very good. I don't know, Magic. I've watched this replay a few times. This is important for me because we got the try of Shecky's. Those 2 horses were definitely affected, but I don't know if he did it. It kind of looks like they made their own trouble a little bit too.
This back end is the behind shot is a lot different. Head on, it looked like he squeezed them down into the 2 horse. No, he still crossed down because if you watch the grass lanes, I don't know if those are straight, but assuming those grass lanes are straight, he came over about 2, and it's not. They weren't going to win, and I don't think they were going to beat him for 3rd. But you have those 2 outside horses that both advanced beyond the 5 and the 7, so they were cost a better placing by his actions because they had to pull up. They got knocked around. So it depends on how you interpret the rules.
Official.
It didn't change.
It is. Wow.
I'm surprised, Magic, after you said that.
So I just want to hark back to the Halty when we were talking about the pick 4 and 5 early in the card. There was way less than this, and Trevor McCarthy lodged an objection after the stewards put up the inquiry, right? And there was less than we just saw. So I think this is one of those situations where, again, when you look from the back end, that's why it's important to look at so many different angles. The back end really showed it, like Shecky comes in, race 5 was Zabava, who was the favorite, the 4 almost didn't even touch. And it's fun, though there's that brief spot where the rail doesn't exist. So horses will tend to kind of sometimes lug in the stretch because they don't see a rail. And I think, and that's exactly when Trevor McCarthy got bumped, even though it was a slight bump. Nonetheless, it was a bump, and Zabava won by about a half a length. It's just interesting to see. We all talked about, I think it was the Charlestown, the horse ran off the track. These horses, they don't see that rail. They start to go into the space where they could occupy. And that's kind of what happened. It wasn't, they all kind of came in again here, especially it happens on the turf. So I think that's just what it was. There wasn't much. Jackie was better than the 5 and 7 anyway. So,
yeah, I think the last point was probably the best point to the whole thing is at the end of the day, he was just better. I don't think maybe you cost him a place, but it's just really hard to take him down unless he really fouls him hard there. And plus, we got the try, so I don't really, I can't look at it without being biased there. So, listen, we got one more race to go here at Monmouth, so let's try to get this home.
That try paid almost $67 for 50 cents. So.
Yeah. Listen, we got big pick 4s and pick 5s. Really, I would take any of them right now. Looking at the pays, let me pull them up and let me pull up what we got so people can know.
You don't have the 6.
I'm going to play whatever you've got because you've been on fire since we came on. I mean, you've been on fire all day, but since we came on air, just tell me who to play.
1, 2, 1, 2, 5, 11, right? I think we have here in this last leg.
In the 5s or the 4s?
In all.
Everything.
Both.
And everything,
Both.
okay.
Yeah.
They're not. They're good. They're all
The
good.
pick 5, the 50-cent pick 5 was a cost of 120, and we're looking at what are we looking at here?
It's like 362 to 851.
Yep.
Yeah.
With Authentic having 1, that's a really good payout range.
Right. Yeah. And then we are looking at a $64 pick 4 ticket. Not as good here. Like about 141. Oh, let's see, about 225. Let's see. Yeah, anywhere between 150 and 150 to 300 for the pick 4 payout. So I mean, it's good enough. So hopefully we get 125.11 here.
So just a touch on those pick 4 payouts, and you said they're not as good. I'm surprised because Arklow was the one, that race was the one to kick off the late sequence.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people threw Arklow out. And I think that's why the numbers aren't what I think they're a little messed up. I think they should be probably a touch higher if Arklow was getting serious money. Right? Wouldn't you agree? Because Aquaphobia paid, I think, $23.40.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a touch higher than what we're seeing, at least on the 4s. And then Magic, to your point, Authentic, to get that, I think on the 5s part is nice, because I think a lot of people, not us, but I think a lot of people might have just singled and said, I want to spend a little less, and we're willing to bite on Dr. Post. So
yeah.
Still alive to a bunch, though. Good payouts. Either way, you're picking winners.
Yeah, let's hope we get it home. It'd be nice to hit 2 pick 4s and 2 pick 5s for the guide on the card. Actually, it would be 3 pick 4s because we hit 9 through 12. It didn't pay anything. $64 ticket paid $90. So that's not
profit.
But it's a win nonetheless, I guess. But yeah, we'll see. I thought this race, you could go a lot of different ways with it, right? It's kind of a weird race. These horses aren't great. So we'll see how it goes. Somebody had a question on Saratoga race 11.
That race was wide open.
The New York bred race, yeah.
Yeah. So, Halty, I know you had your picks up. Just in terms of my tickets alone, I try to buy as much as possible this one, because we talked about it all the time at Saratoga. We even said it yesterday. What do? You're only around if either you're going to the bar across the street or if you're live to a ticket. So they always throw in the maiden claiming 40K or New York bred or whatever. Magic's laughing because he's right. If you watch and you're still watching at 635, you're only alive because of those 2 options. So you're only there in normal years because of those 2 options. This race is, you got to take them all, because for whatever reason, if one horse takes a slight step forward, they're going to win. Did you have any opinion, Halty, when you were going through it? I know it's off the top of your head question, but I did have one long shot, and that was the 6, me and Snap, for David Donk. Just because he's good with first timers. And I looked at a lot of this race and I said, well, I don't know where, none of the experience really did much for me. So then you looked at the 7, I think Papa Luke. That was probably the one with the experience, but I would take a shot with the 6. I'd find a long shot for any reason, whether it's a trainer, jockey, post, whatnot. Look for something, because I think this is wide open.
So I approached the race exactly like you. It's just like, okay, well, let's get a couple logical ones, and then let's throw a couple of just stupid ones in there to put on the ticket. Let's try to just find some reasons, right? So I put Make Mo Time on the ticket, the 5 horse. Just because you look at the sires in this race, it's like, well, hell, Uncle Mo pretty much stands out amongst these, right? I mean, Big Brown, Bourbon Courage has 2 in here. Strong Mandate, Central Baker, he's good for a New York bred for sure. A Fleet Alex and another Central Baker. Hey, I'll take Uncle Mo anytime, right? So I threw him in there. I put the legendary Hall of Fame trainer Steve Asmussen in there as well with Midnight Whiskey. I just thought this was the most logical winner of the race. Now, I'm with you, and I totally agree. And Magic kind of chuckles when we talk about Saratoga's last race, but Ricky's absolutely right. If you're not at the bar right now, I don't know what you're doing. I mean, and if you're alive, you're still at the bar. It's called the Paddock Bar, So I haven't went to Ciro's across the street just yet. So you definitely have to get a little bit creative here. I also liked the number 2 American Piper. Irad's on this horse for some reason, right? And Magic talk about jockeys sticking around for that last race, and here's Irad Ortiz Jr. sticking around. So I'll throw it to the Del Mar guy up there and get for that.
Well, it's not just that, which is one of my favorite angles, but it's also, Mike brought this up on our show. Rick Buckley's had 7 starters in the entire year. This is a New York bred horse and debuting, and was a $12,000 purchase, and is a gelding. This is not expected to be a world beater. Why the hell is Irad Ortiz Jr., the leading jockey in earnings and wins last year and currently this year, why is he riding this horse unless he got a call that this horse was working lights out at Pimlico, which he's got a really strong, steady series of work, so the foundation is going to be there, and they're quick. At least, I mean, if I saw those on a California track, I think this horse is going to be ready to do something pretty nice. It just doesn't make any sense. Why would I ride this horse unless he was a really good, had a really good chance to win? My only concern with him is that he's on the rail for his debut, but in a field where I don't think there's anyone who's going straight from this race to the Kentucky Derby, yeah, go ahead, play him.
Right.
Yeah, it's just and Rick Buckley also, he's part owner, right? So he not only is training, but he's got another, I'll say, stake in the race, right? So he knows that in terms of going forward, if Irad's not going to be so quick, this isn't Klarovich and Chad Brown. If this horse doesn't run, Irad might not be ready to pick up the phone or his agent the next time around and say, yeah, Rick Buckley, I'll get on. So Rick Buckley might be taking a shot. I know he's 0 for 7 and has no numbers to back it up. But to Samich's point, you're not calling Irad, I think, unless you know you got a shot, or unless you know your horse is going to run, or he's competitive and he looks good. Either way, and you can make a case for anyone in this spot, right? So that's why I would have gone the 4. Aaron, to your point, it was just on a muddy track and didn't finish. That was my concern, and I included Midnight Whiskey, but. Kind of no excuse to be winning, fall, kind of just stopped. And just at a short price, I think that's one that people should kind of pause on. I think you could go other spots if you're going to choose 5-2. So,
yeah,
but logical, as you would say, it's a logical spot for the 4.
Yeah, he's like Magic said, there's no world beaters in here. Jared, I know you studied this race for hours. I just want to know your thoughts on the race.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about this race other than the fact that we can, get it home. So,
well, he probably likes the 8 Perfect Banker by Central Banker, 10th by 7, 9 by 6 3/4, making the first dirt start. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm busy reading quotes after from Bob Baffert after that race.
I haven't opened the email yet. Is there anything good there?
Yeah, share those with us.
Let's see.
Authentic looked great. He should be a Derby favorite.
Yeah, I mean nothing.
He was working well.
I'm just so proud of him.
What? And on a serious note, what Haskell is this for him?
9.
9.
Oh, okay.
9. Yeah. Because I could tell he wasn't focused on going down the stretch, but he held on. He saw that horse coming to him, and he took off again. It seems stretch, but Jimmy said
Mike didn't hit him until inside the 16th pole. Like he was underhand right until the
let's see what. Let's see. Once that horse got next to him, he galloped out and was back on the bridle. So I guess he came off the bridle a little bit. I thought I was front at the wire, but I rode him past the wire so far, I forgot where the dang wire was. I just kept riding, and Paco Lopez went to celebrate, and I thought, did he get me? I thought I hung on. We were blessed to hang on. So, yeah, there's no mention of, of anything moving forward, but it sounds like, they don't seem absolutely disappointed, so I'm pretty happy.
I mean, they won $1 million race.
Sappy Joseph, runner up to my traffic. I forgot that he trained that horse. So,
did they have any quotes from Sappy? I
want to hear Sappy on Tonalist Shape because that was gross. That was disgusting.
Okay, so I thought he ran good coming to this race. Missed work, blah blah blah. Dig down deep. He was ahead front right at the wire. I just want to keep going forward. That's the important thing. Hopefully, all goes well to the Kentucky Derby, and we're living the dream.
For that was
And
Sappy?
then, yeah, Paco said, I was sure I got him 100%. I can't believe it. I'm surprised we didn't win. I really thought we got him.
I thought he did too.
I never thought. I thought it looked like he held on, but that was close. The last time there was wire a finish that close, I got hurt really bad when I had
It was this
McCracken
race,
that
wasn't
day.
it?
Yeah, it was McCracken in the Haskell and to Gervin.
Yep.
And I loved McCracken that day. Halter and I were there,
Yep.
and that was brutal.
That was back when you did Saratoga Saturday and went down to the Haskell on Sunday, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, what a weekend.
That was dumb. We after that we're like, why do we leave Saratoga to come here? We did it once with Faro. Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's
but then after that, you're like, why are we leaving Saratoga when they're racing and coming to the Haskell? This dump. No offense, but it's a dump. So we're not doing that again.
It was let's just say when I was there 2 weeks ago, not much was upgraded. I'll just leave it at that. not much was renovated, not much was added on. Whatever your phrase, I think it was pretty much same old. So, but
my first Haskell was looking at Lucky, won the Haskell, and he beat Super Saver in that race. So he beat Super Saver by a lot. But looking at Lucky won the Haskell, and I had so much fun. And it was the Preakness versus Kentucky Derby winner buildup for that race. They hadn't faced since that Preakness, so it was a huge race. A lot of people there. It was a really good time. And then I went back next for American Pharoah. It's like, this Haskell thing is pretty freaking awesome. I'm going to go. And then when you go for Gervin and McCracken, never mind.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, listen. No, I would never discourage anybody from going. Though it's fun. It's any racetrack's fun. So
at this point, I'd go anywhere, right?
Yeah, for sure. Except for no, there's no exceptions. Yes, I definitely would go anywhere.
I wouldn't go to Los Al right now. That's just me.
That's fair.
Still a little dirty there.
The best is Los Al on a Sunday night, and you can't even see the screen because it's so foggy. You have no idea, especially when at the beginning of the card, right? Magic, it's like race 1 and 2. They have the 4.5 furlongs, something in that range, but you can't really see.
Yeah, that race is it's 4.5 furlongs, and I think 3 of those furlongs are just the turn of them trying to get around to get through Los Al. It just seems like they're turning the whole time.
Yeah, it's tough to know where they are.
So look at the wire there, guys. It was close. It was definitely close.
Yeah, it was close. You can tell that the Bob definitely got. I mean, he never was in front until after the wire. So I don't know how Paco thinks he got him, but anyways.
We didn't think that race was very fast. It wasn't unnecessarily fast, right? It seemed like a good tempo up front.
Can I address a comment real quick before?
Sure.
This guy says at least Monmouth is open. Makes no sense Monmouth is open and Saratoga isn't. Yeah, actually it does, because Monmouth is going to get about 1,000 people at most, and Saratoga is going to get about 25,000 people on a Thursday. That's why one's open and one is not. That's like saying it makes no sense that Will Rogers here in Claremore, Oklahoma is open and they don't run the Kentucky Derby. I mean, Will Rogers, you've been socially distancing at that track since about 1975. So different expected crowds that are going to – if you've ever been to Saratoga, social distancing.
I mean, it kind of. What do you guys? Because I thought it was interesting too. They obviously all week they kept saying, we've got, there's still tickets available at Haskell because they opened it up to a limited amount. So it kind of tells you people just don't really want to go right now. So do you think if Saratoga were to say, yeah, we're open, but it's limited to 25,000 or whatever? Do you think I think they personally would fill it no matter what. People want to go, but I don't know. It's interesting because they couldn't even get people to come to the Haskell, however, whatever limit they set it at, they didn't fill it out because I think what was $100 a ticket, something like that.
Yeah.
It was the worst price system I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It was $100 a ticket to a track that when I went on Sunday, they were practically giving stuff away for free. So I'm not racetrack management, but I'm guessing I'm not going to pay $100 to go to a poor Haskell field, and B, it's not like it's an exclusive thing, right? So just in terms of their point, I to agree with Halty, I think 25,000 at Saratoga on a Thursday is realistic and happens every Thursday. So I don't think it's fair to compare the two tracks.
I think it's pretty simple, to be honest. And Magic, you will appreciate this as a person that you give me shit for not caring about this, but I do. And it's that we saw last week. What was it? A 20% jump in opening day versus last year Saratoga, and no fans are there. So what reason do they have to open other than putting themselves at risk of spreading the virus, and then all of a sudden becomes a huge PR nightmare? So they're making more money than they were. I mean, okay, that maybe not, because they're concessions and all that shit, but as far as betting goes, they're doing it better than they were last year. So there's no risk to running the way they are running right now. So as much as I would love to, I mean, we would be there normally right now, and that really freaking hurts. But I don't blame them for not having fans, to be honest.
No. Well, plus they offer, what is it? They opened it up to a certain number of owners, I don't know if that's happened yet or if it was just announced, but for them to even do that, I thought was interesting, because it's going to quickly, there's so many owners who want to go to Saratoga, right? If you own horses and they're all around the country throughout the year, that's fine. But when they're at Saratoga, you want to go. And so then it becomes a system where, what owners are being kept out, and who's going to take offense to that, who's going to throw a little, brat storm on Twitter, and who's going to lose their mind and say this is unfair. And then it's, well, Saul Kumin gets it because he owns 30% of the damn backside, so he gets tickets, but I don't, and it's unfair. So, I feel like it's too many potential negatives, kind of where you're going with this, Jared.
So, Maggie, sorry, Halty, real quick to your point, with Red Right Hand, each stable has 8 spots for the day. That needs to be made 24 hours in advance through NYRA. Can't just show up. That's A. B, all the tests that you have to go through. And C, if you're WinStar or whatever, you have your WinStar, you're 8 for the day. You're not 8 for the race. If you have WinStar, 2 horses in a race, you're not 16 for the race. You're 8 for the day. So it's, when you really break it down, it's not as many. It's a lot. It's still 8 per stable, but if you're Rapoli or you're Klarovich, you have 8 for the day. So I still think it's somewhat of a limited number, and you guys know how big of a place that is to have 8 per race. Even if you had one owner for a 10, it's still not that big. You could really do the math. It could be like 80 at the most, 80 people at most a day. It's like 800 people total if it was one owner, 10 horse field, so they're still doing a good job. It's not that many people there. So even if with the owners allowed,
and it is one of those things that are common with so much money bringing in that they're not going to try to risk it. It's one of those things they have been allowed to run while other sports are shut down, so they're not going to rock the boat on that situation if they don't have to. You understand? You look at it and it's like, well, shit, I can go to Delaware Park, but I can't go to Saratoga. But it's strictly a matter of 500 people at Delaware, there's going to be 25,000 at Saratoga. And even if you try to limit the capacity, then you're going to have people lining up on the streets watching them. Then you're going to have people in the town all over the place thinking, well, maybe I can get in. Hopefully I can get in. It opens up a lot of problems, and they can't do it. And it's not fair, but this year's not fair at all, right? Like, I hate that I'm not there, but I can't. There's nothing you can do about it, It sucks.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, we've said it once, we've said it 1,000 times. It's not like we love this situation. It sucks. But what can you do other than just deal with it? I mean, we talked about it on the pod last week or the other day, but it's like, there's a reason why they run the Derby in May. Like, we're kind of sick of talking about them. Like, let's get it going, and because besides Tiz Law and Honor AP, you're like, shit, these horses aren't very good. I would be much rather be talking about the older horses, so they suck. And so, I'm tired of it. Let's get it over with.
You're just mad because you don't have a chance in the fantasy league.
I'm just pissed that I get so bored. I'm claiming shitty horses, and they, grab a quarter at the beginning of the race and they're done. So I'm still sour about it. But yeah, I'm just bored. but really, you guys don't understand. You guys are in the lead. All us other bums are in the back just trying to freaking struggle to get any points. But it's so top heavy right now. It's fun that we have all these weird races like the Travers and stuff that are, Haskell that normally wouldn't be points for the league and Derby, but it's fun in that aspect. But it's like you don't have a lot of action because it's just the horses are so brutal. It's so top heavy.
Makes sense.
Asmussen just won the nightcap at Saratoga, so that's definitely good.
Was it on the 4?
Yeah, the 4-1.
Okay.
Bisky, top choice there.
All right.
So that's good.
You had a top choice come home today? That's got to be like your first one all day, isn't it?
Yeah.
Real quickly, the question I put up here from Steve, from Evil Steve. Fans at the Derby, Kentucky Derby, what do you guys think?
Didn't they already say they are?
They did, but do you think it's going to happen? We're still so far away at this point that, I just saw that, not to make things worse, but like Missouri had like this highest single day jump in COVID cases today. So it's like it keeps happening. It's getting worse, I feel like. So do you really think they're going to have fans there?
I'd be shocked just because, everyone is going to be coming from different areas. At that point, who knows what is and what won't be a hot spot come the first Saturday in May. I saw something that might be you have to prove you're from Kentucky. I don't know what that's about. We're seeing some crazy things at this point. But I would tend to say no. I just think we're
prove you're from Kentucky.
Yeah, right. I don't know what you're supposed to bring your electric bill. I don't know. Like you're going to bring your utility bill.
It's a lot nicer than the rest of us were thinking right now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair, but whatever,
The real question, seriously though, becomes now that we're starting to see this jockey kind of, like quarantine, so to speak, where you have to stay. If you're at Saratoga, you stay there and you can't come in. And we're going to see that have an effect later in the meet when these races really get going. You just can't, when you bring a horse in, you can't bring your normal jockey. So are we going to carry that forward into the Kentucky Derby where you can't get, you know what I mean? Like now all of a sudden you've got legit horses that can't get their jockey in, or are they going to have to require to come in a month in advance and be in the bubble? What are they going to do there?
I say we call up the Fauner Park jockeys and we say, all right, boys, have at them.
Well,
yeah, we're calling you guys up.
Call Jake Alesiak because he's working he got a 40-hour a week job doing a night shift job at a factory.
Yep.
Just call him up.
I say here's a crazy theory. What if we just let the horses run on their own in the Kentucky Derby?
Just can you play Bodie Express now?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Can he get in somehow? Yeah, because it's, hidden scroll, he'd be good. But no, it's it seems like I don't know. No matter what, we do know this though for sure. No matter what decision is made, it's gonna piss people off.
Oh yeah.
Anyone they're about to head in for the final, Molly Pitcher. Anyone with I know Halty again. You're alive to a few. Is there one that you're just keeping an eye on? Obviously, regardless of the payouts, we want the biggest payout. But is there one that you were really high on, or money forcing you to go another way?
I picked the 5 on top in this race, and I've had a really, really good day with on top winners at Monmouth and Saratoga. And at 7-2 to close out the day, how about let's try to get one more home, right? I think Vault is a really good price at 7-2. So I'm playing the 5 on top, and then if the 5 doesn't win, let's hope the 1, 2, or 11 does, right? So let's.
I just put in a win bet on the 5. Yeah. You've been hot enough. Let's do it. This will be the second bet I've made all day.
What was your first one?
Well, other than the second bet at Monmouth Park.
Is anyone worried about
campaign?
Is anyone worried about a slight bounce from She's a Julie? Because I think before the Ogden Phipps, no one would have had She's a Julie in here. Yeah. So I think that's just something to look at. You're taking your 2-1 as they enter the gate. I think that's a horse that you could pass on. It's a horse that you don't want particularly, but
for what the reason you were talking about, for sure. Yeah, she's She had a huge upset, and now she drops way down in class, this is probably the class she honestly needs to be in. And so, yeah, it's a little iffy for sure. But Asmussen's won the last 2 races we've talked about. So, there's that factor too. So, listen, I thought this was a wide open race. I mean,
I didn't think Asmussen ever won races.
Yeah.
Not big races. Not unless he's got a world beater.
Yeah, and he hasn't won big races. Not today, really, either. But he did win that grade 1 and knocked out Sandwich's single that day with the race Ricky was talking about. Which started to ask me some hate. I'm totally convinced. That's what started.
You can draw a line straight back to that.
Yes, yeah. I never criticized even until after that race.
Everyone was against She's a Julie there.
Oh, yeah.
It was between that and also the Chestertown draft pick failure. I think those are the 2 things that really made him mad about Asmussen.
I get it. I totally get it.
Oof.
All right, let's do this.
Vault didn't want to load either, and then she's acting up in the gate.
Come on, Mike. Get her going here. Let's go. Okay. Well, she broke all right, at least.
Mm-hmm. He's pulling her back already.
And Wrong Color is getting pumped to get that lead at 99-1. She'll hold on.
So Royal Flag.
That was a good ride by Royal Flag.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Magic. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, really good positioning there by Paco Lopez.
Paco, yeah. He saw that spot starting to close, and he went, nope. Going to go right in there and take that.
Like we said at the top of the show, Lopez, Bravo, Gallardo, those are the guys that ride this track very, very well. So he's in a good spot.
Vault's moving nicely on the backside.
Yeah, Vault and She's a Julie right there together. Where's the whore? Where's Horologist? Oh, she's third. There she is. Okay.
She's right there.
Yeah, okay. I said, where's the whore, right as Heather walked by.
Different kind of live
right
stream.
She looked at me like, what?
Horologist is moving, I think, much better than Royal Flag, it kind of looks like right now.
Yeah, let's get the 70-1 beat here, and I think we're going to win this thing with the 11. 5's running pretty well.
Yeah,
7 looks freaking good at 40-1. Shit.
Oh, it's a little scary. She's a Julie ran well. Wow.
She's a Julie hasn't left the gate.
Good call, Ricky. That was a big bounce there, yeah.
Come on, 11. Finish it off.
There, baby.
There comes Horologist.
There we go.
She's. Yep.
Cruise by 11.
Got it. Yep.
Got it. Woo!
All right, guys, that'll work.
There we go.
5 for 5.
$1,700 pick 5 on $240 ticket.
You could have played it for 120 and get what is that? Because I know people will go, I ain't playing for $1, so you could have played a 50.
$851.
800. So,
Yeah, so shit, $850 on a $120 ticket.
Yeah,
hit both pick 5s. Both pick 5. What did the first pick 5 pay? Like $500, $600, something like that.
You want to think?
So yeah, congrats on everyone who cashed in on that both pick 5s. That's the one we wanted. I mean, that was the best outcome right there, getting that 11 home. So congratulations, nice effort. Thank goodness, right? Because that 7 looked good.
Our super freak, the 7, Cherie DeVoe, former Chad Brown assistant trainer, gets a second place there in a big race. So that's good to see for her. And then beats Chad. Chad had the 2. So
that was smart. Jorge Vargas did well. Just to, if you're going to beat these, horses that are probably better, just to get to the lead and see if you could hold on. That was nice 40-1. That was clearly outran the odds. That was a good ride by Vargas.
How about, She's a Julie wins the grade 1 Ogden Phipps. And I mean, did she cross the wire? This was a bad race for her. I'm looking now. I still don't see her. Did she get pulled up maybe?
I lost
contact. She may have. He called her off before they got the turn. So I don't know.
I'm going to quit saying it because she may have got pulled up.
Yeah, I don't
see her.
I mean,
anything.
It was a very obvious bounce spot. I think. Yeah. I mean, her best races were last year. Obviously, facing much better. I think we could all understand that, but nonetheless, not all that competitive. After she gets the lead, kind of quits, wins the Ogden Phipps. We didn't think she'd run this poorly, but nonetheless, I think in terms of win bets, the 11 made sense, the 5 made sense, even the 2 made more sense. And she unfortunately finished off the board. Hopefully she's sound and okay, but
yeah, good way to end it. I didn't realize until started handicapping for the guide on Wednesday night that Bill Mott had horologist now. This was a first race for Bill Mott for horologist. So there you go. Bill Mott gets a big win there too. One of the good guys, right? I always like when Bill wins a race. He's one of my favorites. So.
Frank just announced it's the biggest day they've had since Farrell won the Haskell.
Wow. As far as handle?
Yeah, I missed the number, but
yeah.
Great.
No one there, and it's it's just insane. People are so hungry to bet right now.
Yeah. It's kind of like with a little bit of microcosm of what's happening with the corporate world, where a lot of people, not for us necessarily, because we work from home anyway, but people who were working offices all the time, they're starting to figure out, like, I don't have to go to an office every day anymore to do my damn job. Like, I don't have to be. It's nice to be at the track, but you don't have to be. Look at this.
Hey, I'd rather be with you guys at the track, but second best is doing this right here, right? So, I mean, I'm not going to complain.
All right. Any closing thoughts from either of you three or anyone that's tuning in here? To any final thoughts on the day? Obviously, Authentic, you're a Haskell winner. We'll be in the Kentucky Derby. Those top 3 will be in the Kentucky Derby with NY Traffic and Dr. Post. So we got Derby runners today, but didn't see, as far as we mentioned earlier, did not see what we feel like is any strong contender to win the Kentucky Derby. But any final thoughts on the day? Maybe like an overall top performance that you off the top of your head.
For me, the top performance probably is Decorated Invader. I thought he was the most impressive horse. Authentic won the race everybody wanted to win today, so give him credit, but I don't think he's anything going forward. Probably the race that got me the most excited was the United Nations, but it wasn't really the performance, more I had the horse, the one on top at a good price. But yeah, I'll go Decorated Invader with my most impressive performance of the day.
I will take, as far as stakes races go, I think Global Campaign was my favorite. A little biased because I had win money on him, and I thought for sure he was toast. But the fact that he re-rallied against a horse that you really didn't, against Bal Harbor, who should have been able to handle the distance, so you wouldn't think he was quitting late. Global Campaign rallying along the inside and getting back up for the win, I thought was really impressive.
Yeah, I want to touch on Aquaphobia a tad, because I just thought from if you were against Arklow as a bettor, there were a lot of ways you can go. And I think, Halty, you had Aquaphobia. It was just at 10-1, I thought was a value. And you talked about Jersey Joe Bravo, just sat right behind Perret. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but nonetheless just sat and kind of knew that for Perret to win, it was going to take just a valiant / unbelievable effort, just put Aquaphobia in a perfect spot. So that's where I'm going to go. I think a combination of Aquaphobia's performance, but also just Joe Bravo just kind of sitting right there, taking into the 2-3 path at just the right time with about 100 yards or so, 200 yards to go. So kind of jockey horse combination from Aquaphobia there in the United Nations.
Yeah, I mean, you already said Decorated Invader, but this horse to me is, was supposed to win and did it impressively again. This horse just seems like you mentioned earlier, Ricky, the best 3-year-old on the turf, but it's just a horse that it's just really turned into a monster this year. Kind of had the makings to be one last year, but really has kind of turned into one this year, and just kind of seems like he can win. He wins at what, I tweeted out earlier. It's like he wins by how many he wants to win. Early, like real quickly, you're like, it looks like this race might be a little close. That Chad Brown horse was coming, and then he's like, nah, no, I'll keep going away. So, and that was going longer. That was a question mark a little bit. I mean, he had gone that distance before, but mile was more of this horse's strong suit. So Decorated Invader, Paris Lights, I liked a lot too. That effort, I thought it was a gutty effort. A horse that at least I feel like could have an impact in the Oaks, just in general underneath or something, because I do feel like that horse is getting better. But yeah, just a pretty strong day all around. Obviously, Authentic winning the Haskell. Like you said, Alterman, that's the race that was the highlight of the day. That's what everyone wanted to see. And the horse, Bob Baffert, did it again. 9 wins. But I think he is. What's odd is he just won the Grade 1 $1 million Haskell, and it's like, is he like at least second or third best effort right now?
I don't know. Derby, yes. I mean, as far as the horse, maybe he's the best one, but for the Derby, yes.
He might be the best. He might be the third best 3-year-old because got to put Gamine and Gamina ahead of him, I think. And of course, Uncle Chuck. So that's, those are two. And then Saison, I mean, I think he's still kind of a little bit of a question mark for what he is. We'll find out. But yeah, I mean, Gamine, I'd say the filly over Authentic at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. It's been 2 hours of just fun racing. We'll do this again next weekend. You guys down for that?
Let's do it.
If I have a location, yes, I'm down.
Halterman will be behind a dumpster behind the Casey's gas station there in Joplin, but he'll do it. He'll do it. So
what do we have next? Oh, the San Diego's back next week. Take two, and then the Vanderbilt and the Boston Spa.
Oh, hey,
Sister Charlie.
Ask you.
Sister Charlie, and we got Maxim Security, who won the Haskell last year, running for Bob Baffert, making his first start for Bob Baffert in the San Diego. That was supposed to run this weekend, so that'll be fun.
Asmussen will have Volatile most likely in the Vanderbilt too, so we'll see if Asmussen can win a Grade 1.
So
Saratoga,
while we don't have like the major, like a Haskell or 3-year-old type prep, we've got some serious racing. This is, to me, like forget the damn 3-year-old. This is the kind of racing I like right now. So, all right, so yeah, we'll be on here next weekend. We'll get the guys on here and we'll talk more racing. So thanks again for tuning in. Listen to the Magic Mike. What are you guys doing on Tuesday? Doing the Magic Mike show.
Mondays and Thursdays.
Oh, Tuesday. Why did I think Tuesdays? Because I don't listen.
Wednesdays and Sundays.
Might as well be. Yeah. 2:30. 2:30
every
Pacific.
Time I look, you got a random video out. So I don't know.
2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern on however you're watching us right now. We'll be live Mondays and Thursdays, 2:30, 5:30. So.
And Bleakers Off will be on Thursday. I do know that. Thursday evenings. So we'll be doing that as well on here as well. So thanks for tuning in. If you aren't a subscriber, subscribe to us so that way you get alerted when we pop up on here randomly. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.